ask for it. You got to name it before you can claim it. It's true. No, you can't get what you want till you ask for it. Ain't no good reason why people should read your mind. No, you can't get what you want till you ask for it. Ain't no good reason why. Ain't no good reason why. Ain't no good reason why you can't get what you want.
Hello, Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and welcome to another edition of Living on Music. I am Steve Houk, and it is an absolute thrill to be with you tonight. I hope everybody is doing well as we're dealing with a little bit of a kind of a turn of events here in this crazy 6 months. Everybody's hunkering down a little bit more. So do what you can. Remember that Living on Music is here for you through the Zebra, and if you want to see past episodes, you can go to the Good News Zebra page. But we are here for you to play music and talk to musicians. And again, music is saving the soul, so that's something very important right now. Tonight on my episode, I've found a musician that I think I'm going to love for the rest of my life. So that is one thing that I just love being able to do on this show, is being able to find musicians that I didn't know too much about at the time, and now play their music all the time, not even involved with my show. And that is the amazing Laura Tsaggaris. Laura Tsaggaris is gonna be with us tonight, and it is one of the longest shows that I've done, and it is a wonderful ride with this amazing lady who is DC based, and you will come away with this being a fan, I guarantee you. And it is a wonderful musical journey of her life. So I really can't wait to talk to Laura. And also, if you see behind me, you'll see the Iota from in Arlington, one of the great clubs, small venues that unfortunately is no longer here. But I'll mention in a few minutes why the Iota is behind me. A couple quick mentions. We have another amazing classical movement show this weekend. Really excited that Nita and company are doing some amazing things. So we're really excited for the next one, which is basically it's not this one behind me, but it's the other one that we're talking about, and it's actually a really cool one. You can probably lose that graphic, but it is what this Saturday is the Americana afternoon folk music for Thanksgiving. It is the Ken and Brad Kolodner trio. Very excited to have them. This one behind me was this past weekend, and what an amazing thing. I saw some pictures that Nita put up of the Savory Soiree, and wow, what an amazing show that was. But this Saturday night, Saturday evening is afternoon, actually at 2 p.m. is the Americana afternoon folk music for Thanksgiving. It is going to be a unique program with going to old time bluegrass, Americana roots music. And if you've never been to the Secret Garden at the Rectory, my gosh, go find it. It is an amazing place. They do an amazing thing by giving us live music, even during all these times, socially distanced. I've been to a show there, but go to classicalmovements.com/live events or Secret Garden. and it will bring you some wonderful joy, I am sure, to be able to see that. I'd like to do a quick shout out and thank you to some of my past guests. Really, really excited to have an incredible lineup of guests coming up very soon, as well as the people that have been here this entire time are just spectacular. And just trying to continue to bring music to you, bring music to them, give them a chance to engage. It is just such a thrill to be able to have this show and be able to do whatever I can to help musicians engage and play again. We're going to run out a couple of quick plugs. Dave Chappell, my buddy, love Dave Chappell. Again, was on the show about 2-3 months ago. One of the first guests, his first virtual show ever. And he was a little intimidated at the beginning, but turned it around, and we had a blast. And what an amazing, legendary local guitar player. Dave is going to be at the National Press Club. It's presented by Blues Alley, November 23rd. It's a live stream, so you can go online. There is a charge for it, and it's worth every penny. And musicians need your help, you guys. So be sure to check out Dave Chappell's Facebook page, and we'll be giving some more links and things like that. But it is with the amazing Tommy Lepson, who's been a guest on my show, John Previty, Bruce Swaim, and it's just going to be an amazing show. And I just love the fact that Dave and company are going to be playing live music. So remember that. And if you want to, again, go to Dave's. You see his name here. And go to his Facebook page and be sure you find the link. Another one I want to give a quick shout out to is Ron Newmeyer and Bandhouse Gigs and Newmeyer Flyer. They are going to be doing a compilation show of a tremendous celebration that they have done over the years. They had to suspend this last show that they were doing, and it celebrates The Last Waltz. And The Last Waltz, most of you know about it, but it was the band's last show ever. Basically set as their farewell show, and it was on Thanksgiving Day, November 1976, and it was shot by Martin Scorsese, directed and released in 1978 as one of the great documentaries of all time. And what Ron and company have done over the years with the most incredible musicians that you'd ever want to find. I've sung with a lot of these people, but it is an amazing experience. They're going to be putting a compilation of all these Last Waltz, and it's called Past Waltz. And it's just going to be an amazing thing to witness. It is going to be on Tuesday, November 24th. It's at 7 p.m. It's going to be on the Bandhouse Gigs and Newmeyer Flyer YouTube and Facebook pages. Links will be coming soon. But a bunch of the guests that I've already had on in my show that I love so much, these guys, Bill Starks, Tommy Lepson, Scott Kurt, Ruthie Logsdon, Ronnie Newmeyer plays in the show. And their future guests, like the great Chuck Sullivan, who's one of the main Bandhouse Gigs, Newmeyer Flyer guys. What an amazing musical career. He will be on with me December 7th. And I've also been trying to get the John Carroll, one of the great vocalists in series ever seen, and musicians too, and trying to get him on as well. But that is called the Past Waltz, Best of the Last Waltz tribute at the Hamilton, live 2012 to 2019. So keep your eyes open for that, and we'll be promoting it as well. Hopefully on the next show as well, a week from tonight. Very, very excited again to continue to promote venues, continue to promote my friends who have venues around here, again, where they're shutting people down a little bit more. So people like Lorraine Campbell at JV's. Lorraine, I love you. I know you're continuing to try to get music in there. It's just such a challenge for all of you. The Hamilton, David Moran and Tom Meyer, my buddies, Jam and Java, Luke Brindley. I mean, you guys are doing those outdoor shows, and also we're starting to do some indoor shows. The Birchmere with Gary and Michael and John Brinegar and everybody over there who I love. Hang in there, you guys. Venues you're gonna make it through this. It's just as long as we help support you, and Niva's in there and all like that. Hopefully we'll get through this soon, and we'll all be out back playing and rocking again at live music venues. So, as I mentioned before, if you look behind me in my weekly world of virtual venues, you see the beloved Iota in Arlington. It was a place that people revered as a small club and cafe. that bands of all types of genres played. And unfortunately, IOTA closed back in 2017. But prior to that, many people, revered kind of the intimacy and the fun environment and the small stage area that bands could play right near the guests. And my guest tonight holds it very near and dear to her heart as a place that helped her cut her teeth in the music scene in DC. And from there, we'll delve into her life very soon. Laura Tsaggaris is a DC-based singer, guitarist, and songwriter. And, her 30 plus songs, 5 records span the genres of folk, Americana, alt country, blues, rock, and pop. And honestly, folks, no bull, I am musically smitten with this lady's voice, her songs, her playing, their bare feet that she has in some shows, and herself. She is something special. Laura has said sometimes she doesn't really write songs. She likes to think that they have a way of kind of weaving themselves into her life, and I love that. After years of creating some very special music, since recording her first EP in 2001, the early years of motherhood saw Laura's creative, I guess you could say, creative channel close a bit. And true to form, that songwriting void felt bigger than the last few that she had had. The single "Lead Me," though, that she recently released, that arose as she was driving to Florida in the dead of the night with her family, sleeping in the back, has brought her back. And with that, she feels back on course. She talks about how the song felt so important from the moment she wrote it. And when you hear some of it tonight, and when we give you the link and you play the whole thing, and when you get that single and put it in your own musical collection, you will see why. It's also interwoven with a political commentary, because at its core, it really calls for unity in the face of this country's unrest. And we got a big duty, we think, in the last week. And so this song is even more dynamic and relevant right now. DC laid the groundwork for my guest, for Laura to grow into this influential musician. So that's wonderful that she's really a DC-based musician for us, however, born in Pennsylvania. She works to give back to her adopted hometown of DC through her talents that have taken her really far and wide. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, a true treasure of local music and beyond, the wonderfully talented Laura Tsaggaris. Laura, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Oh, it's so wonderful to have you. I had heard your name through the years, and then it was brought right back into me when I had Bobby Thompson on 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I thought, well, what am I doing? I've got to get her on, and then to be able to kind of immerse myself in your music for the last 2 or 3 weeks has been a joy. I'm not blowing smoke. It's just some beautiful stuff across this really wonderful career that we'll be talking about in a second. To kind of kick off a little bit, a question that I hope I can stop asking wonderful musicians such as yourself in some future month. Is how have you been doing this last 6 months, not only as a musician, because it's affected so many of you, many of us. I've had about 12 gigs of my own in my little midlife band, cover band world canceled. But how has it been for you, not only musically, but you have kids, and how is it in your mind? Are you kept sane somehow?
Yeah, it's hard to think outside of being responsible for my children's education right now, just as well as trying to get some things done, but for some reason, it's been a little bit easier than it was at the beginning. I think just because we can just see that there are things that, like, the crazy thing is my children are here all the time. They're really young. They're 7 and 4, and they have tons of energy. They're super fun, but they can also just be a lot, and they need everything to be done for them most of the time. But like, I actually have said, when they go back to school, I'm going to miss them. That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
I know, and it's wonderful that you have such that there is a positivity to this. It's been really wearing on a lot of people, even though that you love your children more than life. It's still. Is there anything that Laura, that you've kind of discovered that you didn't know how to do before? Like, we've had people learn how to. They've started gardening. they've cooked food they've never cooked, and they've also adapted their music a little bit in different ways. Was there anything that you've kind of jumped out at you during this last 6 months of solitude almost, or at least quarantining?
That's a good question. I think I have poured a lot into, I'm kind of one of those people that I just tinker in my house. I'm always working on something. I've got a million projects going on. And so sometimes they're mistake free, most of the time not. But I've been working on making my basement, which has been a very scary cellar up until this point. I've been making it into an area where I could have an office, where I'm in my office right now talking with you. So this is a huge success. Okay. if it's sounding at all fine. And then also to get a place for my kids to play and have their Legos everywhere. But mainly just to, I don't know, I just love building things, working with my hands. And I know a lot of musicians are the same way. So that's been something I've been really delving into is working down here, and it's coming together.
Oh, that's great. Bobby.
But I will say a big project in this time has been, we really focused on getting my kids to ride their bikes, and that's been a huge, morale boost, because riding bike is one of my favorite things to do. Yes. And so
what a bonus to be able to take bike riding out of the mix. That's I love that. We're going to touch on Lead Me and Your Message in the Bottle, which, by the way, is just a wonderful cool. Cover of that. Have you been completely virtual during this time?
So, I haven't been able to get the energy to really do it. It hasn't been something that I've been wanting to really get into that much. I've done a couple things. I did a fundraiser for Christine Havrilla. I don't know if you know her. She's from Philadelphia.
I believe I do.
Yeah, it was a fundraising show for her. I did that maybe, it must have been around May, because it was around Mother's Day, and I had this huge card that I had gotten from my kids on the wall, which was fun. And it was a good thing to just do it. And I was, it's we just have to dive in and do these things. And, they're not going to be perfect and everything. And it's a good lesson for me to do that. I do think I should probably do it a little more. The other day, I did John True songwriter series with him, and that was a great challenge and really awesome. So I was excited to be invited by him. And
I love that. That's wonderful. So we'll delve into the kind of the evolution of your career in a minute, but I wanted to go right into Lead Me, because it's your most recent kind of work. You took 4 years, I think, to write this song, right? You had taken kind of a 4-year hiatus of sorts. Was that an intended time to kind of be with your kids and give music a moment?
I mean, yes and no. I think when I had done my last album, which was Live at the Atlas, which is
oh, it's a wonderful record.
Yeah, thank you. That was a really big undertaking and a really big accomplishment for me. And when it was done, I remember talking to the producer that I was working with at the time, Jamie Candeloro, and saying, okay, it's time to live a little bit. And not that making music and writing isn't living. I just meant to be okay with changing the focus a little bit. And
yeah, absolutely.
As a musician, that. And so it was, and at that time, it was also coinciding with me trying to get pregnant myself. And so it was all right, I'm going to do this. And then it was just as I said, as you were saying in the intro for me, every time you have these lulls as a songwriter, they kind of make you ask these questions even deeper than you did before,
Right.
And it's and every time it's oh, and then you write a song and you have that feeling, you're oh man, I'm never going to feel like that again,
Right.
I mean, this is key. And then every time it just never fails. It's like that Steve Earle song, My Old Friend the Blues, it always comes back. Right?
Love it so much. Right.
Yeah. So anyway, to answer your question, it wasn't a purposeful it was a little bit purposeful, but I think at some points I certainly was like chewing on it and realizing,
Sure.
like, you know, wondering, you know, if there was, because being a parent and doing all of that, it throws a lot of your identity up in the air too, and you have to kind of see where it falls and what you catch and what feels right. And
we're driving in the car from DC to Florida. I've driven that nonstop myself.
Really?
Not down to the Panhandle. Not
By
I don't know.
yourself?
No, with my son. About 4 or 5 years ago. My ex-wife and my daughter live down there now, and I was going to visit my daughter down there, and it is quite a drive. It was dark. It was nighttime. You evidently recited a poem and sang a melody and came up with this gorgeous piece of music. Is that a reasonably accurate how it evolved?
Yeah.
Initially.
I think what I had started, you know, I was at home right before we were packing to leave, and I just kind of picked up the guitar and I did a little progression, and the melody for the chorus came out. And so I was like, oh, this sounds like something. But it's kind of, you know, as a songwriter, you don't really want to say whether, you know, you don't want to put too much on it. And
sure.
So it was there. And I just was, but I had this a little, you know, a bit of a quiet confidence about it. And then sort of it took shape from there, and I started putting together the poem, and I was very thankful that I had it that day and the next day when we went on the drive, because It was literally, I'm a big reviser when it comes to writing, so I'm constantly going over it, seeing if each word fits, and then also getting really into punctuation and stuff like that. I'm super into that.
Right. So, and this song does touch on what has been going on in this country. When I was trying to get in touch with Laura to have our first talk, she finally got back to me and said, "I'm sorry, I was downtown celebrating." And so we immediately bonded on that note.
Yeah.
No, politics aside, whatever, but it's only our country at stake. Anyway, we are going to, we can talk a little bit more even about this, but we're going to take a look at a nice, healthy clip of this beautiful song written by Laura Tsaggaris, "Lead Me."
I am not doing enough. I can't even bring myself to watch. Sure, I talk about it and I feel bad, but I am not doing enough. I see people picking up slack, bringing others' needs up on their backs, making it a point to just serve somebody and find a way to even up the stacks. Mama, show me what you live for. Come and shape it. Mama, tell me what you did for someone lately. You gotta do more. You gotta do more. This is a privilege that you can't resign. Shit goes back to way before you was born, dude.
Oh man. I think I've no lie. I've watched that song 10 times in the last couple of weeks. Really, really beautiful. And you must feel, proud and happy of what just came out, especially during this time.
Actually, some of the best moments as a musician come from just people's reactions to the songs, not any kind of award or anything like that. And my aunt did text me. She said, I grew up in a time when artists were reflecting what society was, what was beating in the hearts of society. And she's like, that's what you're doing in this song. And that just meant the world to me. So.
Oh, wonderful. Wow. That's some affirmation.
It really was.
You can't beat that. We're going to spin around and go back in time and talk about the life of Laura Tsaggaris a little bit more and kind of see how you came to be, especially musically. Your story begins in Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh, of which I'm very, very familiar with. It's a wonderful city where the rivers meet, as Bruce said in all his shows. Tell me, in your childhood, how did music first find its way into your soul?
That's a great question. I think I'm kind of reminded of driving in the car with classical music on a lot of times, or driving with my mother. I played a lot of tennis when I was a kid, and we'd be driving across Pennsylvania and listening to Paul Simon Graceland. So it was all in an appreciation of those things that they were listening to. But also, the classical music was, my grandfather was he went to Juilliard for violin and was in the New York Philharmonic. Yeah. His wife was a flamenco dancer, and then my mother's parents were both singers, and both of my parents were singers and musicians in their own right. And both of my cousins now are wonderful singers and guitar players and in bands. And so I think it was always there, dormant for me, but it was I kind of was attracted to the guitar that my dad had in the house, and I just kind of play around and do some things with it. And I think it was just something that grew from there. I knew there was something there.
Right. And you began to apparently, and in the Making of Every Man video, you talked a little bit about your childhood, and did you begin and conquer stage fright, or do you still have a little taste of it?
Oh, it's so funny. I'm such a different person than I was. I find I will sing at the drop of a hat. It doesn't, I'm very, very different than I was with that particular issue. I think, though, of course, you still get nervous as a performer.
Sure.
And
butterflies.
But it's right. It's different, though. I have, after doing it so many times, I know what the signs of that are. I know the ways to work through it. I know what that anxiety is about.
Right.
But yeah, it took a significant amount of work to get over that.
Oh, that's fascinating. I was going to ask. Yeah, I mean, people like Barbara Streisand still has stage fright.
Really.
And, yeah, and there's still, but there's a difference. As you you evolved out of fright into excitement and butterflies. And if you don't get butterflies when you're about to play live, then you're not a musician. That's part of always going to be part of it. You also said something neat, that you felt that it was a weird thing to sing back then. That is classic. I love that. What exactly did you mean by that?
Well, it's like you take anything out of context. I mean, if somebody was cheering for their favorite football team and they weren't in a stadium watching a game, it'd be the weirdest thing if they were just sitting there like, whoo, whoo, whoo.
I know, yay.
Right. So if you take the looks on your face, really emoting when you're singing. Like I have a couple of posters of a fan had made for me, and it's got like all these snapshots of faces that I made during, and they're just they're so cringeworthy, but it is what it is. You just got to go for it.
I love that. You when did you started playing music young? I would gather, and you're playing a lot of tennis then. I would gather.
Right. I was, yes.
And the
So-
scholarship brought you to Williamsburg.
Yeah.
That is something else. How did the tennis kind of thing begin? Was that another family kind of thing, or did
Yeah,
you
it
find
was
that
a
on your own?
family thing. My grandfather was, a tennis player. So was my dad, and my mom was too. And my brother played tennis, and so then I would do everything my brother did, and so into that, and it was good. I mean, it's an intense sport,
Yeah, it is. So
Crazy.
Djokovic Nadal about 2 weeks ago, and you just don't get better. I mean, even though Nadal pretty much beat him down, but tennis is I love it. I played it my whole life as well. So you had music going. You had your tennis and your college life at William and Mary from 95 to 99, and then how did the next step for Laura Tsaggaris evolve into music from the end of college or your college life into coming to DC, I guess, in 2000?
I knew it was easy for me to write in school. Even I got a finance degree in school, which is funny because just because it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. But I was kind of, I was making decisions. My parents were giving me advice. They did, they wanted the best for me, and they're thinking, well, you should do something that you can get a job with. And so I was going sort of on a path towards, finance and things like that. And I got a job after school, as a financial analyst, and I just didn't care for the work, and I hated where I lived. And except for one of the biggest blessing out of the whole thing was I was stationed. I got a job with IBM, and
Right.
I was stationed with my in an area that was 10 minutes from my aunt, who I'm very, very close. Both of my aunts, I'm very close.
Where was that? Where was that exactly? I'm from that area, so I'm
Oh,
curious.
cool. Yeah, so I was in. Sorry if I'm ragging on your hometown. It was in Sterling Forest, New York.
Oh, I grew up there. No, I'm kidding. I know where that is. No, I'm from Connecticut, but right next to New York City. So
yeah, I went to meetings up in White Plains and
Yeah.
Armonk and all that stuff. And it was just a time I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Right.
A lot of people don't. It was there was a lot going on for me, and I was lucky I had music, at least to just play guitar by myself. I had terrible stage fright, but it was something that I poured my heart into. And then I kind of knew I didn't want to be done that track. So then I got another job. I thought maybe I'd go to law school, try to go to law school. So I got a job at a law firm down here in DC. I had a friend that worked there. And then as I was working here, great job, young, smart people, lots of work, making good money, free beer and days. I mean, come on, it was great. But then I started to really get a handle on that. Music was kind of something that I wanted to take more seriously.
What prompted you to come to DC?
Well, when I was at William and Mary, I had come up here a couple of times. I had some friends at George Washington. I came to see Tracy Chapman at Lisner one time, which was a great show. And I just really loved DC. I always felt really comfortable here. It was a very accessible city to me. And so I felt like, there's all these spheres in your life. There's your work, your friends, your where you live, and all this stuff. And I had none of those things going my way when I lived out of New York. Outside of New York, except for, I was with my aunts, and that was good. But I needed one thing to be right. And I was like, well, I like DC. I'm going to go there. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of things kind of fell into place.
It seems that was really an impetus, kind of the snowball started rolling for you. And it seems that, you arrived here, I guess, sometime in the fall, September of 2000. And then in 2001, here came an EP, and you'd been playing at the Grog and Tankard. And I'm like, yes. Oh my God, I know it so well. I worked in television. Really? Yeah, I worked on Wisconsin Avenue in my total of 12 years in my television career at WTTG in Friendship Heights, and then Georgetown. And we went to the Grog and I probably saw you play. I swear to God, that wouldn't have been a surprise. But what a neat memory that is. Seems like you were kind of finding your way out in the various DC venues, and you came out with an EP. How did that evolve?
Yeah, so I mean, I was really doing the open mics. That was a huge thing for
Right.
me. Going to Dreamos, remember that place? I think that
Yes.
was the first place I played.
Oh,
Mike Holden running that. It used to be Bardo's when I was Bardo Brewery.
right. I think
When
that's when I
was
knew.
at
Yeah,
Cranberry.
that's when I think I knew it. Right.
Yeah. So then I went to Dreamos, was playing there. You know, Iota had an open mic. It was like 25 people would sign up. You'd maybe get to play at 1 a.m.
Right.
You know, Staccato down in Adams Morgan. Adams Oregon even had one, I
Right.
think.
Were you playing your own original music at that point, or were you doing covers?
Well, so that's actually an interesting question. So I started with just doing covers because I was like, I wanted to get over this stage fright thing.
Sure.
And one of the things I did was I did this cover of Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again. And it was actually quite good.
Wow.
So that was kind of like, oh, you know, and I would take a bunch of songs and do this thing. And then finally I said, I'm not going to go out and play until I have some of my own tunes that I want to play. And that was my way of really pushing myself to do
I
that.
love that.
And then, you know, it was like after that, the putting out the EP was a challenge for myself to say, all right, this is what you got now, but we know we can up the ante later, but we've got to start somewhere, you know? So it was, I went to Omega Studios and I think it's real. And I just went in there and played these songs and then I was done.
Oh, and you also during this period, it seems that you ran into somebody that became quite an influence and really helped you, Justin Jones. Talk a little bit about Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I just fell for the guy. I mean, he was an incredible singer, and he got in touch with me. You know, I think he saw Washington Post had this whole thing where you could put up your MP3s or something, and somehow he found this one. Justin's a pretty like intense guy, you know, and he's like,
Right.
He called me and he's like, yours is the only one I liked on there, so I want to get together. You know?
2002, he put an MP3 out. That's like, whoa. I'm like, wow, seems like 100 years ago. That's wonderful.
So I was like, hey, I guess, you know. So anyway, we really enjoyed singing together a lot. And, you know, from that point, you know, we've just been involved in each other's projects. Like,
I saw him pop up at a couple other places that we'll be showing you playing tonight. You had the EP in your pocket. A couple of years went by, and you lost your brother in 2003. You talk a little bit about in that wonderful Making of Every Man how the songwriting really helped you through this, and we're going to play part of the song "Hard" from Proof, but in a minute. But talk a little bit about you know, how that affected your songwriting, because I'm sure in general it affected you forever.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing it up. It's nice to talk about him and talk about that time in a way. You know, it was extremely formative for me, just in that it just showed that, you know, life is very short, and if there's something that you're passionate about or that you feel like you want to do and get good at, then, you know, the time's now. And so I think in a way it was a gift that he gave me to, you know, not only take seriously, you know, he was super supportive of my music. And he loved music. We liked the same types of music. He was really into techno. I was too, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was just one of those things to look at your relationships, look at what you're doing and for work, and really see if those are the things you want to be doing.
Wow, that's something. And it's amazing how those kinds of very difficult experiences prompt incredible music across the spectrum of music, you know, for the last how many hundreds of years. But beautiful story. 2004 was the birth of Proof, your first, I guess, full-length LP. And there were some, I mean, there's some songs that your songwriting seemed to kick into gear here with Proof, between Hard and letters and things like that. Talk about that. Did you feel like you had stepped up a level in New Proof?
Well, yeah, I think, I had spent a significant amount of time, creating from the EP to that point. And I had tried to do some self-producing. Justin was helping me as well over at Bias, but I knew it wasn't getting to that level that I really wanted it to be. And, all credit of the how great that CD goes to the producer I worked with, which is Ian Schreier.
Ian Schreier, right?
Osceola Studios at the time. He's now at a place called Mirrorverse, which is this like insane studio in Cary, North Carolina.
Awesome.
But that was, I had a number of songs for us to choose from, and so that was helpful. And then we kind of got to it, and that was another episode. That was another stage fright where I almost didn't. He was supposed to pick me up from my hotel that morning to get started, and I was so nervous and anxious, and I almost like got in my car and drove home because I knew that I was gonna be like dedicating funds and emotions and all this stuff to this project was going to be an incredible undertaking, and it was going to open up all of these emotions and box of stuff that maybe I didn't want to deal with, and I was scared, but I'm really glad I did it.
Oh God, yeah. So am I. So are the.
No, thanks.
So are the legions of people who fell for you at Proof. We're going to listen to a couple of things from Proof right now, and actually these cuts are from Laura's 2016 album Live at the Atlas. But these are a couple of songs from Proof. The first one, as I mentioned before, was written during her brother's illness, and we're going to take a listen to a little clip of Hard.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be harder than rock. It's gonna be hard to wait and see, yeah. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be more than enough. It's gonna be more than just the wait for me. But I wanna wait, I wanna wait, wanna wait here with you. Wanna wait here with you.
Oh, what a beautiful song. Over the last couple of weeks, Laura, you really did it with that. You said that, you rearranged it and gave it a little bit of a different life from your original recording with Proof.
Yeah, the producer I worked with on that tune and that evening, who really just helped make it happen, Jamie Candeloro, was also the producer of Everyman, and he just had an idea for that tune to just go with an Erykah Badu vibe, and I'm a huge fan of her, so that was just kind of how we went with it.
I love it. We've got a clip of one other song that Laura wrote for Proof, her first record in 2004, also from Live at the Atlas. And I see my buddy Bobby Thompson back there, so that's kind of always fun to see him playing along with the incredible crew you had. I guess this touches a little bit on William and Mary, maybe a little relationship-y thing going on here in this song, but it is a beauty. Let's take a little glimpse of Letters.
Looked at your letters today. They're printed on paper that you never gave. You know, now I see words you never could say. I looked at your letters today. I still remember the sound that it makes down by the James River escape, where romance is starting and water does break, where he lost his life by no mistake. And oh, I want you. Oh, I want you. Oh, I want you. To know.
Yeah, that's another beauty, Laura. Your songwriting seemed to just be really kind of ascending at that moment. You talked a little bit about how songs start kind of as either a melody or words, rarely kind of the same thing. And this one came out all at once.
Yeah, I was living in a 7th floor apartment in Cleveland Park, DC, and I remember that song coming out. It was just one day, one afternoon.
Wow,
So,
yeah, it's beautiful. Your next record was it seemed to be about 5 years between records, between Proof and Keep Talking.
Mhm.
Was there a reason that you took 5 years? Was that another period to kind of take a breath, or were you just kind of building up to Keep Talking?
Yeah, I think I was just building up. You know, I was doing some touring at the time. I was also still working at a law firm, you know, so I was not full-time playing music. You know, I was starting to set my boundaries there where I wasn't working after 5, so I was or anything like that late night, you know. So I was still limited in my ability, but also to be honest, I'm not like the most prolific writer either. So it was like a time of, you know, really culling a lot of good stuff. I had, you know, a lot of songs that I didn't use, but I was getting really into talk therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy at the time. I had a wonderful therapist, and so I was learning a lot about that during that time. That's basically the basis of the title of that album. It was I didn't really market it this way, but it was a concept album in that idea of talk therapy and stuff.
Oh, I love that. That's great. And
Yeah.
what did you put together? A heck of a video for Go and Do Everything Again.
Yeah, so there's a coffee shop in Eastern Market. Now it's Peregrine. It used to be Murky, and they were great. They let us set up and film there. So I was, you know, just going through a couple jobs there. Basically, the story of the video is that I go from certain jobs and I see something else I like, and then I go and do that, and then I, you know, but also just a lot of people had fun with that video. My first couple guitar students were in the video, and then I turned into a bike messenger at one point, and my wife like opens the car door onto me, and I crash, and so it was fun.
Oh, yay! She got a cameo. How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's great that she would be. Let's take a little glimpse of the 2009 life of Laura Tsaggaris, and this is Go and Do Everything Again.
Like an animal all night, you've made the best of your confines. It's always a fun time, all to give you just one rhyme. So is this all another call to what you'll never be anyway? You're living on another song that you'll have to back down to celebrate.
Wow, talk about, yeah, you went to the max on the video thing there. That is for performance videos to boom. That and I noticed you also, like in Dig, which we'll show a little bit in a little while. You do try to put on a little bit of an acting kind of presence. That is classic.
Not an actress. I mean, Steve, you're cruel.
Oh no, I'm complimentary, but maybe I shouldn't have been. It was about 2 or 3 years after Keep Talking came out. You got married. How did you meet your wife? And sounds like it's been a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, she's the best. It's a long story, but she played tennis at Richmond. I played tennis at William and Mary. Our teams played each other all the time.
Oh, it was a love game then.
That's right. Love match.
Right.
No, it wasn't. We didn't know each other in college. I mean, it's like we knew of each other, but it was kind of one of those things where after school, it's a small community, the tennis community, and so we ended up both living in Washington, D.C. and having mutual friends. And but it was many years later after, we kind of saw each other here that we ended up seeing each other. So. Yay.
Well,
I'm glad.
Yeah, it seems it. That's wonderful. Going back just a tidge, we were talking about venues, and I know during this period of your career, you also played Rock and Roll Hotel shows. Had you played there before? And that's just a legendary place that's also hurting right now.
Yeah, I had some fun times there for sure. Definitely around the time of the Keep Talking record, I fit more into their genre,
right?
Or their vibe, which was super fun. I did a show there with both of my cousins. They're playing. My one cousin Travis is in a band called Coheed in Cambria. He's the guitarist.
Oh yeah. I've heard of. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so he and my other cousin Tyler also team up for a band called Davenport Cabinet, and so we did a show there at Rock and Roll Hotel, and it was just so fun to do a show with them in this like sweaty
right.
rock place,
I loved your
came home and like had a party in my cellar. Like, it was great.
God, that's the way it should be done. I know. I love that it said Rock and Roll Hotel picture, lots of sweat and rock. And I'm like, well, can't beat that at all. So you got married in 2012, and then came 2013, and what a beautiful record too, Everyman.
Yeah.
How did this come about? How did it get the name Everyman?
Well, my friend Justin Jones had worked with Jamie Candeloro, who was the producer of this record, and I got in touch with him after I kind of knew that I had all the tunes, most of the tunes that I would include on this record, because this was the first time that I went out to Los Angeles to do this, and there were a couple of songs that weren't done yet, and I did some writing in the studio, which was really cool, because I just felt like he was there, like doing work, and it felt nice to just be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Know that someone knew I could get it done.
Yeah, sure.
And also it just the vibe and the energy that we were working together really, really helped. So where did Everyman come from? That was a title track. And I was really proud of the words in that song. It was just about, this continued a bit of the talk therapy thing, but more on the side of where, a lot of times my songs, I talk to the song and the song talks to me, and so it has a personality, and it kind of like, it can be everything to me. It can be like the best and it can be the worst. It can be the best thing to write a song, and it can also be very it can be a heart-wrenching and difficult process, but then it's really rewarding too. And so some of that is in that song, and also just feeling like that song and other things, like really just relating to everything, taking, not to use the word every so many times, but just all the facets of, and feeling comfortable in being gay, and feeling comfortable with becoming we were starting to think about having children and thinking about, I don't know, just being very inclusive. I was just feeling inclusive, Steve. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get it. Like every man, right? Yeah, it totally fits. These are two, like 10 favorite songs of yours now, but these are two of my favorite. The first one is I played this over and over. It's just right in that sound that I love. It's from the Everyman album, and it's from a sold out show at one of my favorite places. I'm buddies with David Moran and Tom Meyer and Daniel Schwartz and the guys at the Hamilton. What an amazing place.
Yeah.
This is
Awesome
from a sold out show there. This is just a wonderful song. It really hits hard. And let's go to the Hamilton. Hey, wow, let's go out and go live and see music for a second. Hey, that's a novel idea. Let's go to the Hamilton. This is from Laura Tsaggaris' Everyman record, a little bit of Ask For It.
Don't let me pardon, just let me start in on something I believe. Taking a challenge, striking the balance that gets you what you need. Don't leave me giving up, just keep me living up to who I wanna be. Oh, you got to tell me, won't you come and tell me on the plan? 'Cause you can't get what you want till you ask for it. You got to name it before you can claim it, it's true. I know you feel like a bird in a cage when nothing keeps you from flying away. I see you bringing yourself to a state of never moving for fear of mistake. But I can help you get up. I can help you get up. You just got to tell me, won't you come and tell me all the plan? 'Cause you can't get what you want till you ask for it. You got to name it before you can claim it, it's true. No, you can't get what you want till you ask for it. Ain't no good reason why people should read your mind. Won't get that far. Won't get that far. Won't get that far. Won't get that far. You 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 won't get that far. 'Cause you can't get what you want till you ask for it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm just putting that on the head of my. I still have a little iPod, so yes, I realize that those might be outdated, but that's going to go in. I love that song. How did Ask For It come to lyrics and songwriting of that one?
Well, that's actually a great question. That one, I have a friend of mine, Chris Dutra, who was an assistant engineer at Osceola Studios, which is where I recorded Proof and Keep. He was like, he really loves it when I do the rock stuff. You know, he's like, you gotta do more rock, and and so he's like, I want you to write a song that is 165 beats per minute. Okay, so I think we came up with that number. So I put 165 on my metronome or whatever, and I just sat at the piano and I started like playing some chords, and I got into it, and then that song just kind of came out.
Oh God, it's great. Yeah, it does rock. your stuff largely, but there's also a lot of beautiful slower acoustic stuff as well. But that was like, wow. I'm boogie into that one. The net.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I feel like I don't, and I want to get back to with live performances. I love doing the live rock thing, and it's hard to capture that on a record. It's like one of my favorite memories is a Black Cat show that we did. Oh. It was just the energy was amazing, and you just want to capture that on a record, and sometimes it's really hard to do that.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, you captured it on that song. The next one is also from Everyman, and it's called Dig. This is where you do have your Oscar nominated performance at the beginning, getting angry at the CDs.
I was starting to like you, Steve.
Yeah, the wind needs to dig here. But you talked about this being your probably your most popular song. You filmed it in Pittsburgh, and you had some people involved. Give us a little bit of background on this before we watch some of Dig.
Sure. My friend David Conrad is an actor, director, and I guess producer. That is a friend from Pittsburgh. He was in a show called. He was also in Wedding Crashers. So he's he's in those circles, and he heard the song and was like, hey, I want to do a video for this. And so he we had like a trailer, we had like cameramen, they had props, they had like pictures from my life that printed out in frames and stuff. It was so cool. It was like one of the best days of my life. It was so fun. And the DP, the photographer, was Mark Schwartzbard, who also has worked with David. And it was filmed in this town called Braddock, PA, which is where there was a really pretty big movie with Christian Bale and Woody Harrelson filmed there. What was that one? And Casey Affleck.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and so it's funny because where we filmed it was like right across the street from this old amusement park that we used to go to so much as kids, called Kennywood. So it was just like all these things, coming together for that song, and it was really fun.
Well, let's take a minute from her 2013 record, Everyman, performance of a lifetime in the video Dig.
I just wanna dig. Don't call me a starter. I'll finish every bit. I'm a coal miner's daughter. I don't need to win, just don't wanna lose something that I can get back again. Tell me it's a sin every time I move. Tell me it's the end. Say it's coming soon. Come around again. It's just like you knew. I got so much work to do.
Wow, what a blast! And again, what a wonderful song. Again, your songwriting seems to just be growing and developing and evolving and ascending as you're going along. So congratulations on as the time goes by. But we're not even in the present at the moment. Around the time of Every Man, August 11th, I believe, your first baby was born. Congratulations on that. Back in who is now 7 years old. His name?
His name is Declan.
Declan, that's right. I thought that. And again, parenting, there's really nothing like it on earth. And I'm sure that was not only a combination of the love you feel for a child, but also did you continue your music as your baby was growing?
Yeah, I mean, it was really just obviously, and I kept playing, and it was really cool I have this one picture that a picture of him watching me on stage, and it was like it's like I never need anything else, it was just that image of him being like, oh, that's my mom,
Yeah, there was one picture I thought I saw of him sitting on the stage. Was that a different one? Or is that it?
It's like just him as a baby, and he's like, what the heck is this?
He was live. It was amazing.
He was live, yeah. Oh, he's always live. Yeah.
Right, and I know before that, going back about 5 months before, it would have been 4 months before you had Declan, you played the iota. So you were continuing to play while the baby was.
That's the second one. I
cool.
Yeah. So
that's
I was
great.
like not even physically challenged during that pregnancy.
I love that. Oh, that's great. Well, so between the birth of Declan and then 2016, were you writing? Were you kind of looking to go to the next step? Because I know your next record, Live at the Atlas, which is such a wonderful live record. That came out in 2016. What was the kind of the lead up to Live at the Atlas?
Yeah, so we had Declan. I was the stay-at-home parent. Really, my wife is a tennis pro, so she's, off teaching lessons out, in person all the time, and to be frank, she makes more money than I do, so it's like she needed to be out there.
Well, I was going to ask. I'm sure you could compete when you play tennis. At least give her some run for her money, right?
It's a really wonderful thing to have, to be able to just go hit here and there. Not that we do it as often as we would like, but so I was really in it as far as being the primary caregiver, and with that, I did also take on a part-time job as a musician for a small. It wasn't a preschool. It's not a preschool. It's like a co-op. So like parents would bring their child and they could be there with their child. And so this was like another step on the music journey where it was like another facet of being a performer, because like performing for kids is a totally different thing. Right. And whereas at first I was a little bit like hesitant, it really helped me even more overtake the what's it I'm looking for? The performance anxiety, because it was just like kids don't care what you do as long as you're excited about it, and then they're so jazzed about it.
Totally.
And it was just like it really did help as far as projecting your voice and just acting silly and just like not taking yourself so seriously. It was a good thing for me.
That's great. Why did you choose a live record as opposed to a record like a regular studio record?
I wanted to do something. I wanted to kind of do it was a challenge that I really wanted to put out there for myself. I mean, a lot of the artists that I've liked over the years have done that, and they have that sound of where it was like, something a little different on the tunes. There's people there, the challenge of doing something live and having it sound good, so I think it was just, and I also wanted to do these tunes kind of a retrospective. So it didn't really make much sense for me to do something in the studio. I wanted to do it in a different environment. And so, I don't know. was just something I wanted to take off the list.
Yeah, and it worked beautifully. You
Thank you.
really have a thing with live, and as we both know, the best musicians ever, the ones we all love, are great live. Playing live is almost not 75% of the game as opposed to the rest, but it's so important to be able to do it, and you do have a wonderful presence live. Let's take a look at a song that you did, and I love the background of this too. It was written in Buffalo. It was prior to having babies, children, and you were helping put your niece to bed. How did this song come about? It's a beautiful story.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. This one, it was one of those where it came to me as well. Did too, but I had this image of my niece, she was falling asleep while we were putting her in the crib, but also like fighting to stay awake. It's like they're so full of life and they want to get back to it, whatever the heck it is they're doing, and and also just the innocence and no bounds to their love and your love for them, and so all of that was going into this song, and I'm really proud of that song as well. It really just kind of took off from that inspired moment, and then it took shape. I wrote that one on ukulele, which was like I didn't even know how to play ukulele. I just was kind of like, oh, this sounds good, and then I maybe knew a couple chords, and it just it was cool. It was just really cool how it came together.
Well, I loved how you talked too about the fact, again, from a songwriting perspective, that it was a pretty, agonizing yet exhilarating process with this song, because you really wanted to bring it to its full potential.
With a writer, it'd be a terribly annoying time, because I'm sure that I wasn't that fun to be around in a way, where you're just, not that I was a jerk or anything, but you're so preoccupied. Like for me, it's like, it's just going in there and the words are going around and the music and stuff. But a lot of the reason why I find that I like silence a lot more than I ever did before, because it's just like, there's a lot going on up there,
Right. Well, let's go to his 2016 record. It's called Live at the Atlas. And this debuted out there as a live track on this record. So it came out then, and as I'm sure has resonated with a lot of people. This is To Sleep is to Dream.
What's that feeling coming over me? There's no sense in me wrestling it, for I know it comes just before I drift away and hear you say, I love you forever and always. What's that feeling coming over me? It's time that my eyes start to close. Shut the light out in the name of sleep. 'Cause to sleep is to dream a little dream of me. I will see you when I wake, time for which I cannot wait. There's so much I want to fit in a day. This here's a spell I'd have you break, but only if I'm trying to stay too long. Seems as if there's magic in the air. My arms and legs grow heavier with every second, and I reckon soporific melodies are all I really need right now.
Yeah, you told the story of that, and you can see it as you're singing it. That's a beauty. Beautiful
Thanks.
job on that song. Yeah, one of many. That was 2016. Again, there was about a 4-year gap between songwriting for you. We talked a little bit about it in the beginning. That was a time where you kind of decided to, take a little bit of a moment for yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would have been great if some songs came along, but they weren't. I find too, at least for me, at the early years of parenting, it's hard to have any any space for any emotional or creative outlet. It's just very difficult. And so, I think Lauryn Hill, didn't she do like a whole record when she was pregnant or something?
I believe so. Yeah.
So I think just people are wired differently as far as that stuff goes,
You also did, during this time, a cover of the Police song "Message in a Bottle," one of my favorite, because the producer was trying to kind of get different artists together to get some music happening. The version is beautiful. Did you do a lot of arranging? How long did it take you to kind of come up with this alternate version of "Message in a Bottle"?
I think we were looking at what tune would fit for this time, and something about the lyrics of that tune were just so speaking to April, May I was really kind of going insane being
right. Totally. And sending out an SOS and everything. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like that line. I was like, okay, we got to do this one. And it was one of those inspired cover choices. And so going to it, I just kind of sat down and did a little, it's kind of like my style of picking, and I just kind of started to come out. It is a bit different, and Tim Lyons, the producer, made some great decisions on, how to progress to the chorus at the end, because they end up in the original, they go back down, whereas we just kind of just stayed up.
Right.
But it was cool because, and even now it's like I feel so disconnected from the people I play music with. And, it's like at that time he was like, people need stuff, and let's reach out and see who can record. And so it was great. He got Ben Tufts on there and Pat Thornton, and it was really cool. I was happy with it.
That's wonderful. Well, as a wonderful full circle to this amazing lady's musical life, let's take a little bit of a glimpse into a song written by I believe it's all three guys from the Police. It's "Message in a Bottle."
Just a castaway, an island lost at sea. Another lonely day, no one here but me. More loneliness than any man could bear. Rescue me before I fall into despair. I'll send an SOS to the world. I'll send an SOS to the world. I hope that someone gets mad. I hope that someone gets mad. I hope that someone gets mad. Message in a bottle, yeah. Message in a bottle, yeah. A year has passed since I wrote my note. I should have known this right from the start. Only hope can keep me together. Love can mend your life, but love can break your heart. I'll send an SOS to the world. I'll send
Sending out an SOS. Yeah, that just, I mean, your version is so wonderful. That song actually, as you mentioned, is Sting's, and who did so much of their music. I remember I had an overnight job right out of college for a channel, and it was midnight to 8 a.m. shift. And we went and saw the Police that one night that I had to work, and we're dancing and having a blast, and then I had to get in the car and go to work at midnight. It just was the oddest thing ever. But they are wonderful. That's just what a great thing Tim did with getting you guys together with that. And look, that really is a wonderful exclamation point on kind of where you are. I know that again, your 7 and 4-year-olds are the center, and they are amazing kids, I am sure, and things are wonderful. What are your next other than getting the hell out of this, playing in front of human beings more regularly? What any quick musical kind of aspirations you're looking at right now, Laura?
Yeah, just now that I've kind of got a little space carved out for me down here, I'm looking forward to just, and after I broke my finger randomly. Right,
I was going to bring that up,
so
and I just let it go.
I've been like, when I brush my hair, I'm like, oh, put your hand up. No, but once this splint is off, then I'll be good to play guitar. But I've been playing a lot more piano. Got a wonderful gift from a friend of this piano at our house, and actually with that, we've been renting out the room for recording. Like all of the tracks from Lead Me were recorded in that room.
What a room! I mean, Oh my God! I saw that you had told me about doing that, and then I got the pictures, and I'm like, I want to move there. Yeah. I mean, that is a beautiful room.
We're so fortunate, and so we're just trying to get folks. But I mean, I'm kind of just blocking chords, and on this amazing classical piano, it's like we need people that can really, really play that thing. So it's been a lovely woman came and did a recital here, Elizabeth Hill. And we've had quartets here. One of my neighbors is in the NSO. He was on Lead Me. So we have quartet concerts in here. Just trying to get the word out on that. That's called the Mantle Room. So
yes.
Yeah, yes. I'm working on the website and all that kind of stuff now.
We will be pinging that, and you can. We just showed Jeff just showed a beautiful look at that room. That is a wonderful kind of cool. Joy that you must have. I love that idea. Well, Laura, look, again, one of the joys of my life is finding musicians that I really relish listening to and learning what they're doing. And you're no exception. This has just been a gift. Know you a little bit, but also get to know your music. It's 20 years of real beautiful stuff, and I wish you the best of luck coming out of this to kind of get back to where you want to be in terms of live music and everything like that, but also continue the writing you're doing, because it's beautiful stuff, Laura.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm humbled to be on, and it just means so much to me that the music speaks to you. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll be playing it a lot, and also continuing to watch your video performances because they are just so incredible. Again, thanks so much for being on Living on Music, and we will get you back out here again soon enough. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
Sure. With Laura was just taken by her. I know I am, and the music will be part of my world for a long, long time. We're going to run pretty quickly through this. I've got an upcoming lineup on Living on Music that is going to be really something else. Next Monday night is the return of Jim Ebert and Cancer Can Rock. Really, really excited to have Jim back, and two of his amazing musicians who are part of his cancer survivor band musician Legion, and boy, is that a special kind of show to be able to present. So that's next Monday. After that, on the 30th, Seth Kybell. Seth, unbelievable woodwind specialist, one of the great musicians of this entire region. He is an aficionado in jazz, klezmer, swing, just an amazing musician, and he will be on with me on the 30th. He was on actually in a video, and Flo Anito joined me, and so I can't wait to have Seth on himself, and we can talk all about his amazing domination of the woodwind. On December 7th, it is Chuck Sullivan, and Chuck is part of the Newmeyer Flyer Bandhouse gigs, top shelf crew under Ron Newmeyer. But boy, does he have an amazing music career on his own. Oh my gosh, he is a singer, a songwriter, a drummer, has played with numerous bands in this area, is currently playing with one as well, has written a book on Stevie Winwood, which is wonderful, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And just an amazing guy, and he'll be on December 7th and December 14th. It's the amazing Billy Coulter, and I'm really excited to have Billy. He and I sang at one of the Newmeyer Flyer Bandhouse gigs shows. And Billy is a roots rock, power pop dynamo in this area, 10 whammies. So that's one incredible kudo for him. But he will be on with me on December 14th. So Living on Music every Monday night here at 7 on ZTV. Real quick, tomorrow night on Reading, Writing, and Ralph Peluso welcomes Seal Warren. She's the author. He is the author of Pushing Back the Storm. On Wednesday, it is Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Lauren Fisher. You can meet Delray's new nurse practitioner, Sonia Palmieri of Tranquil Healthcare, and learn about integrative medicine. It's really kind of a cool thing. And her anti-aging remedies, I mean, come on, including the vampire facial. So tune in on Wednesday night and find out about the vampire facial. And also November 19th on Thursday night, it is the Virginia Amos show. And we're really, really excited to have Virginia back on Thursday. Living on Music is a production of the Zebra Press. Our main man and technical director is David McClure. My wonderful new editor and co-producer of Living on Music, and it's going to be a part of ZTV across the board, is Lainey Delaney. Thank you so much, Lainey, for your wonderful work on editing tonight. Publisher of the Zebra, and our driver is Mary Wadland. Go to the Zebra Press on Facebook. Hit videos to find all of the past Living on Music shows and all of the shows that David McClure has done an incredible job just getting all this going for the last 6 months. So kudos to him. Every night we do this show and all of the shows. And you can go see all those shows on the Zebra Press Good News Facebook page. And also the November issue of the Zebra newspaper is all over town. And again, newspaper, and you can also see it on zebra.org, which it's wonderful. You can find amazing stuff all about Alexandria, the Northern Virginia region, and stuff that you probably don't know a lot about. It's some really, really neat stuff. So go to zebra.org, and you can even get the paper delivered to you. Next Monday night, remember, Jim Ebert returns with Cancer Can Rock. Two amazing musicians that we're going to, including one young child or a kid is going to be on, and that's going to be an incredible show with Cancer Can Rock. So please join me next Monday night at 7. Until then, take 5 minutes, take 5 seconds, maybe even 5 hours, and find a way to be the good news in someone's life. Take care, y'all.